Well, hi, everybody, and good morning. This is Michael. Welcome to Dreamers and Doers podcast, episode number 37. And from our LoveWorks staff and family to you, we hope you had a safe, healthy Thanksgiving and did not eat too much food. Drop in the comment box below if you did. I'll probably do that in just a moment. And just to remind you here at LoveWorks that we believe that you are never too young to be a big dreamer and you're never too old, wherever you're at in life, to get started working on your dream.
That is for sure. And our hope with Dreamers and Doers that each week our special guest is going to connect with you wherever you find yourself today. Maybe it's after overeating, but wherever you find yourself, they're going to inspire you to become the best version of yourself for tomorrow.
Carolyn, I did not notice a comment from you in the chat box. How did you do with your Thanksgiving meal or meals this weekend?
It was actually, I would say, on the fairly lighter side. I think I normally get in a couple more Friendsgivings, which didn't happen this year, but overall it wasn't bad. Still got my turkey, still got my ham, got a little bit of some Vietnamese fixings in there too. So it was a lot of fun.
That sounds delicious. I did not overeat, and a primary reason for that, this will be a story that we'll share for another podcast, but we were on the phone on Thanksgiving Day around 3:30 p.m. with the Butterball hotline. I'm just going to leave it there. We were talking to supervisors that were helping us with a turkey. I guess it ended up being a catastrophe. So we'll get into that story later.
I'm dying to hear that story. That is amazing.
Well, let's talk about something else that's amazing, and it's something we think is amazing, and it is growing personally in your leadership. And so we really do believe that personal growth can be a blast. You mentioned earlier, Carolyn, talking about us becoming the best version of ourselves that we can tomorrow, and we believe one way that we can do that is to be intentional about our personal growth today. And so many of you know that are watching that today is Monday, also known as Cyber Monday.
Michael, I may not have already started scrolling through some deals.
Scrolling or purchasing, Carolyn?
No purchasing yet.
Okay. So we're going to hope that those of you that are watching are going to at least take into consideration a few of our suggestions on a couple of hot deals that you can get on Cyber Monday. Sorry to disappoint you, students, but we're not going to be talking about where you can get your PS5 or your Xbox X Series, but we're going to talk about something that we like even better, and we're calling this the gift of leadership. So this could be perhaps a gift today that you ask your parents to purchase and buy, perhaps put something under the Christmas tree or a little stocking stuffer. So Carolyn, on this Cyber Monday, where could we find a gift of leadership today?
So Michael, I know we say this quite a bit at LoveWorks. We say leaders are readers. And so I've got two resources for you having Cyber Monday deals. One is Growing Leaders. They're an organization, of course, that we follow here at LoveWorks, and resources that we love. So if you're a parent out there, especially, or an educator that's looking for books on this generation, Growing Leaders is definitely someone to look to. They have 25% off this morning. So super cool. Also, in addition to that, Audible, if you're more of a audiobook listener, they're having, I think it's 30% off everything today. So not bad.
That's good. That's good. If you don't mind, can I just jump in on that Growing Leaders? So you're going to, I think we own almost everything that's in the store, just short of pencils and water bottles. We own it. But book related, students, if you're watching, we would recommend book number 6, Habitudes book number 6. It's all about the art of helping to develop engaging communication. Those of you that are professionals and you're working with anyone in the workplace that is under the age of 30, I would recommend Generation Z Unfiltered. And parents, those of you that are watching, or someone that's watching that may not have kids but volunteers with organizations like ours that do work with kids, we would recommend the 12 mistakes to avoid as a parent. The 12 mistakes to avoid as a parent. I have a quick recommendation for you on this Cyber Monday to help you save 50%. Nice, that's right, 50%. And I would recommend the Big Journal for Kids. Check out, just Google Big Journal for Kids, and you're going to find two different types of journals, those for kids between the ages of 9 and 12, and another journal for teens between the age of 13 and 16. So Big Journal for Kids, can't go wrong, just to be able to help to develop just a daily habit of spending anywhere from 2 to 3 to even 4 minutes of just journaling and writing things down can make a difference. We also would love to know what you're looking at when you consider and think about the gift of leadership. So please drop a comment in the chat box below, because we would love to see what we might add to our LoveWorks Christmas tree at LoveWorks.
For sure. We've got a growing library, so help us grow that. It's also time for our roll call. So if you are listening, if you've got a suggestion, if you just want to let us know who you are, go ahead and drop that in the comment box, where you're from, what school you go to. And we got a fun question of the day. So this question does have to center around a time, probably not in Oklahoma with the weather that's going on right now, Michael, but where our guest speaker is from. I think this is something that you can still do. So, Michael, would you rather go scuba diving or would you rather go snorkeling?
Well, considering that I just swam 2.4 miles in the most beautiful water that I've ever seen in Cozumel, I would kind of consider that snorkeling, considering you're able to see 100% viewing under the water. It's absolutely just incredible. So I've never gone diving before, so I'd have to say diving. What about you?
I'd have to say snorkeling. See, I think I got to get that one first out of the way before I could ever go scuba diving. I think I might spend too much time thinking about under the sea and imitating Ariel if I went scuba diving. So
Well, if you happen to be watching this in a cold weather place, I hope we're able to get you dreaming about warm weather. We want to explain to you, want to get to jump into our interview, Dreamers and Doers. And here's what our format looks like. Each week, we have the opportunity to sit down with a different dreamer and doer, where they have the opportunity to share at least one dream story. And of course, with the dream story, you're going to hear about some challenge and adversity, but also to learn about the steps that they've taken to be able to reach their dream. And we hope that it is going to inspire you to get from the place where you are today to the place that you want to get to tomorrow.
We've got another question to warm you up for today's interview, and this one has a chance to win a prize. And so this question is a fun little trivia question, and it is, what does Cozumel translate into? So what does Cozumel translate into?
Nice question. I like these. All right. Well, let's meet our dreamer and doer. His name is Antonio Barahona.
Antonio Barahona was born and raised in Cozumel, Mexico, and after getting his business administration degree, he traveled up and down the U.S. Eastern Coast, which included working for Disney, in addition to palace resorts in Cozumel and Playa del Carmen. With his travels, he discovered an ability to tell an encapsulating story, as well as a love to connect with people, which led him to start his own transportation business, becoming an Ironman, and also leaving a party animal lifestyle behind himself for something that was much more fulfilling, giving back. Hi, Antonio.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Antonio. Great to see you this morning.
Great to see you too.
Welcome to Dreamers and Doers.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael and Caroline.
Hey, the last time I saw you, Antonio, you were driving me and my wife to the Cancun airport. How I missed those days just a week ago.
Yeah. We had a couple of really, really interesting weeks here with everything that happened with the Ironman. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, to say the least. Ironman, your transportation business, Disney, so much more we're going to talk about. But we have a big question on the onset of Dreamers and Doers, Carolyn, that we like to ask our guests.
So, of course, we love to ask, are you more of a natural dreamer or more of a natural doer, Antonio?
I'm gonna go for a natural doer. I mean, yeah, yeah. It wasn't that difficult to answer the questions, I guess since I was a little boy, I was always a doer. You know, I mean, I obviously I had dreams, but I was always I've been always a doer.
How did this come about? How did this doing, was it modeled for you? Did you just kind of like to get in there?
Well, my parents had a lot of influence. Obviously, my mom, she was an entrepreneur, so she had both my parents. But I remember my mom, she had these souvenir shops in Cozumel, and since we were little kids, she would take us there and make us work. Gave us to do some inventory or sell something. So, and that actually helped also with my English, because since I was a little boy, I was interacting with tourists and helping, and yeah, I learned since a little boy, and I'm talking about 6-7 years old. So
Yeah. Well, talk with us a little bit more, Antonio, just about what life was like growing up. We have students here that may not have traveled to Mexico before, so we love to hear just a little bit about that and your culture. And then could you lead us into a story that took place at about the age of 12 or 13 years old, when you were asked to be able to write some ideas and thoughts down about your future?
yes, of course. I mean, I was born and raised in Cozumel Island in Mexico. I'm the youngest of four. And since like I said, since a little boy, I was always outdoors doing outdoors activities. I really enjoy sports, really enjoy being just snorkeling. You were just having your question about snorkeling and scuba. I learned how to scuba when I was 10. So it was a pretty cool childhood. And I also had the chance to meet a lot of people since a little boy, because I was interacting with a lot of tourists. And also as the youngest of four, I always at my parents' house, I remember there was always kids around. There was always children, either friends, from my siblings, from my sister, from my brother. So we were always surrounded with a lot of people. So I learned a lot, during these years. What you were saying, when I actually found the letter, it's right here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's 97. This is the date, 1997. So when we were in school, we were asked to do this exercise to write down how we look ourselves for the next 10, 15 years. So I wrote down how I would look myself when I was 30. And basically I'm 38 right now, but basically like you say in English, I nailed it. I'm just rereading it again, and I'm very surprised, because at that time I was just thinking about traveling. I guess that was my dream. Getting out of Cozumel and traveling, because I had heard so many stories from all different tourists, and I wanted to see, where everybody was from, going to the mountains, looking at the snow, playing with it, and all that. So I wrote it down, and I was a little bit different from the rest of the kids, because most of the other students, they wrote down that they all wanted to have a family, like more I don't know, like the let's say normal stuff. And I was a little bit different, because I didn't write down that I wanted a family. I wanted more traveling and being, like exploring the world, which I've been doing.
That is so cool. I'm just imagining, I mean, I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, I wish that I had a list like that I had written when I was in middle school, and I could say like I nailed it. Like that's so cool to me that you have a list and it's like you stay true to that course.
Yes. And when I turned 30, 8 years ago, we had a party with the family, and I totally forgot about the letter, and my mom found it one day at the house. So she gave it to me as a present, and I read it, out loud. And it was very, very, very cool.
Wow.
Very nice experience. Yeah.
Talk about a proud mom moment right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Antonio, I'd like to touch on something that you wrote in your bio, and it was something that I learned about you when we had a chance to spend some time together. And you mentioned that there were a few years that your life took a different turn. In fact, you kind of experienced a party lifestyle, and you can touch on that if you want to. But you shared with me that there was a moment that someone you grew up with saw you and they had barely recognized the person that you had become. In other words, a positive turn that you took for your life. And I believe Ironman had a big influence on that. So do you mind just talking with us a little bit about that season in your life?
Yes, yes, of course. I mean, it's part of growing up. Before I became an athlete, like endurance athlete, like Ironman, doing Ironman and running marathons and all that. I was more into the party side.
Mm-hmm.
I used to drink a lot. I used to go out, be a party animal, like I described myself.
Yeah.
And I was about to turn 29, and I decided I needed to change that. It wasn't taking me to the place that I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't getting, I wasn't getting anywhere, So I decided to start running. I started running just like 5K, 6K, and I was getting anxiety, attacks, especially Saturday evening, Sunday evening, because I was used to go out at that time, and I didn't want to go out anytime anymore. So I
Right.
started running a lot. One day I went to Cozumel on a Sunday just to visit my parents, and I saw all these people running around, athletes and people from all over the world. And I asked, "What is this?" And they told me it's an Ironman. I said, "What is that?" It's a long distance triathlon. I said, "Oh, okay, maybe I should try it. I'm already running." Right? I was already running for like 2 or 3 hours. So I trained for 10 months and I did my first Ironman. And what I told you, it's something that I will never forget. I was running during the marathon part in Cozumel. And then I saw people that I grew up with, they were looking at me and they were so surprised, like, "Hey, that's Antonio, that's Barahona, like he used to be a drunk guy." And look at him, like he's doing the Ironman right now. And they were not making fun or anything. It was completely the opposite. It was for them, it was an impact, like looking at someone that turned his life around. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure it had a really, really positive impact in a lot of people, because next year there were like a lot of local, signing for races, for triathlon, for running, I mean, I don't know if it was because of me, but I'm pretty sure it has an influence, and I feel really proud about that.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm sure you had to be an influence in that. That's a incredible story of triumph
Thank you.
there. So from there, you started your business, right? Cravens, the transportation business. And I heard this from Michael. It appears that you have everyone from a local restaurant owner to potentially the president of Mexico on speed dial, is what I've heard. And your business is definitely just known for the extra mile. You guys do have fantastic service. So what would you attribute that to?
Well, like I said, since I'm a little boy, I've been in the service industry. So you learn with time. Like you have to go that extra mile if you want to be number one. If you want to be the best, you always have to be willing to go that extra mile, extra service. So if like yeah, and I had the opportunity to work in one of the greatest service companies in the world, Walt Disney World. I learned there, a lot. They're known for that, for the great service, customer service.
Mhm.
And then when I came back after the Disney program was just 1 year. When I came back to Mexico, I graduated from university, did a little bit of traveling, and then I came to work into a Palace Resorts, which is a local chain here in the Yucatan area, and they have the same philosophy as Disney World. So I learned a lot about these great companies, and with the people that I work with too. I learned a lot about my like managers, and I was also a manager. So when I started my business, I said I want to be like Disney, I want to be like Palace, I want to be like these successful companies. Okay, and I try. I mean, I don't try. I do it. I apply it every day with every service, with every customer we have. We do it. I don't like the word VIP, because for me everybody is a VIP. That's why I
Mm.
always tell my people, my staff, like we have to try to treat everybody as a VIP. So that's why we do it like that, and it's been working.
I love that. Treating everyone like they are a VIP regardless. I have to
Exactly.
also ask, do you ever add on an extra mile to the end of your Ironman, like an extra swim or an
No, not really, not there.
not there?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of truth. See, Carolyn, that's I've been telling you this for the last like 3 years about this extra mile service. But Antonio, it's really true. That's how when I first met you at the Cancun airport in 2018, you made us feel like we were the most important people in the world. And I know you spend time on promotion and advertising and different things like that on social media, on a website. But I believe that the success of your business is really attributed to the experience people have and the word of mouth. And so whenever I hear somebody is going to even be in the country of Mexico, I'm forwarding over your information. Like, you've got to get in touch with Antonio because he's going to help you in your experience in one way, or another. Antonio, I'd love to ask you a question. Students that are watching this, and we even mention this when we just explain our format. We love to hear, if you're a dreamer or a doer, about a big dream that you might have, of course, about you starting a business, like you have. But we also mentioned that with it does come challenge and adversity. And I had a chance to see you last week walk through a really tough challenge and experience where there were thousands of athletes and families that were wanting to compete in the Ironman in Cozumel, that flew into Cancun, and they needed to take a ferry from Playa del Carmen into Cozumel, and the ferry was shut down for 2 days. You're in the transportation industry. That was a massive challenge, super frustrating, for our athletes. Again, our students face challenges and problems, all the time. I'm curious, whether it's that situation or another problem or adversity, how do you lead through it personally and with your team?
Well, yeah, the business has been running for 12 years, so yeah, we have had many, many, many challenges to overcome. But the first thing is, like, you have to stay calm. Remain calm. You always have a plan. You always have a backup plan, and still everything can go wrong. You know, so you have to stay calm. You have to breathe and just think clear. Okay, you're here to help others. You're here. They hire you because of a reason. So you have to deliver. So you have to focus on that, and you just have to do it. With the situation you were talking about with the weather, that was, I mean, we knew it could happen, but then suddenly 2 days with no ferries, no ferry to get to Cozumel, and we had like 300 people just running around crazy, wanting to be on the island, and there were not a lot of options. So we just like gather everybody together, explain the situation, and tell them, you know what, you just relax and let us take care of that. Okay,
Mhm.
It's our problem, not yours.
Mhm.
You're here to race, so let us do our job. Just relax, and we'll let you know when everything is ready. And it worked out at the end. We were able to help people getting across by airplane, by the ferry, by the car ferry, by cargo, but we did it. So you always have to be prepared. Always have to be, like you said, you have to have on speed dial. If you need to have the president of Mexico, then you do it. If you need to have whoever you have to, but you have to be there and you have to be ready, and willing to help too.
Yeah. Well,
I love
thanks for sharing that. That was such a big deal. It's a tough moment, again, not only for the athlete but for families that traveled thousands of miles to be able to race in this race, and I mean, not just go someplace for a vacation, but had a purpose, and you were just there for them. And so, thank you for just really just modeling the way. Antonio, you mentioned that you would consider yourself a more natural doer, but I also believe you are a dreamer. Can you share with us, is there a dream right now in your heart, something that you're currently working on?
Yes, yes. Yeah, you need to have a dream, to in order, because you have to accomplish it. It's really good to have a dream, to have a goal. You need to set a goal and then go for it. Okay. This year has been complicated, obviously because of the virus, because of COVID. at the beginning of the year, that was another big challenge. Like we had a lot of reservations for the rest of the year, for March, April, May, June, all year, and then suddenly everything just went down. Cancellations, lockdown, and we were like, okay, so what do we do now? So we have to, like, the first month was just waiting to see how long it was going to take. But then April comes and still no tourists, no jobs, no nothing. So instead of like sitting and crying and being depressed, you have to start like looking, because at some point everything is going to come back. So you have to plan, you have to restructure, you need to sit down and make a strategy in how are you going to get out of this. How are you going to get out of here? It was sad because we had to let go people, because of the virus.
Yeah.
But with the people that the team that we kept, we just told them, like, okay, this is it, guys. Like, we have to restructure everything. We have to start practically from scratch. We have to do it all over again. And yeah, the big dream is like, we need to get back to where we were before the virus. And we're getting there, and we're actually getting there stronger, because we've been doing a really good job with our customer service. We had this big event, the Ironman, that the first year we did the package, that was 4 years ago. That was another dream that I had, to help competitors to get to the island safely. We're able to race and then come back safely home. We started 5 years ago, and we only had 4 clients that year. This year we had 75 clients. I told you we brought almost 10% of the competitors for the whole race. As a small business. So that's really good. That's because we have our dreams, and then we chase them, we follow them.
Antonio, you strike me as a person who just follows through and does the thing. That's really cool. So speaking to our middle school students and our high school students right now, we wanted to ask you if you had a piece of advice that you could share with your middle school self or your high school self, what would you want to share?
Well, what really worked for me, when I was between the age of 12, 16, 17, is what I never stayed home and waste any time. I was always out there. I was always learning. I'm not it takes for me to read a book. It's a little bit complicated, but I do it because reading, watching maybe a show, but a show that is educating you, So not waste any time. Okay. I mean, you don't have to decide right now what you want to do for the rest of your life, because you're still young. There's a lot of things that are gonna come, along the years, but you have to go out and enjoy life. I learned this from my parents. They always taught us to enjoy life, to learn, to be out there and be ready. Always be ready. Always be prepared, because you never know when opportunity is gonna come to you, and you have to be ready to take it.
That is 100% true. I'm about that. So don't waste your time, students. We just got off of our Thanksgiving break as well, Antonio. So hopefully we all got that out of our systems.
Yeah. I mean, there's always time to relax. There's always time to enjoy. There's always time. But also, we have to be ready. We have to, always, the world's changing really, really fast now, technology and everything. So find something that you like and go for it. And also, Mr. Michael, this, practice a sport, get it into any team, a soccer team, basketball, chess team, a book club, anything, because when you are surrounded with other people, you learn from them, you listen to their dreams, you listen to their, and then you can get together with more people on a common idea, on a common goal, and that's always rich for you.
Mm.
One of these days,
I feel like we just had an Antonio pep talk.
I know. I was like, is this an attempt to get me to do an Ironman, or?
I feel like we're huddled in the locker room here, and Antonio standing on the bench or on the chair. I love it. So good.
So,
Yeah.
Antonio, for the last part of our interview, what we love to do is we love to give our guest speaker 1 minute, 60 seconds to share whatever is on your heart. So, something encouraging for the big dreamer, the big doer, or both that is listening right now. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. I'll start when you start.
Well, first of all, thank you, Michael, Caroline, for the opportunity, and to all the dreamers and doers out there. It's been an honor sharing a little bit of my story with you. And personally, we still have, a long way to get exactly to where we want to go. But I had a dream one day, and I decided to follow it. Even when people told me, transportation, I don't know, but I always follow. I was sure. I believed in me. I believed in my dream, and that's for all the dreamers and doers. Have a dream, believe in it. Believe in yourself. Work hard. Be brave enough to do something different, to do something else. From what everybody's used to. Because that's what's gonna get you to success. That's gonna get you to where you want to go. And there's a really good quote from a famous Brazilian writer, Paulo Coelho, that I like, that it says, there's only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve, the fear of failure. So never be afraid of failing. Okay, you're never going to fail. You're going to learn from it. So that's what I wanted to say.
You
Boom.
nailed it.
For sure. So, students, just to recap that, I loved hearing that, but to be brave enough to do something that is out of the ordinary, to do something extraordinary, in fact, and to have the courage to actually go for it, and to move past that fear of failure. Antonio, thank you for sharing that. That was encouraging to my heart. I don't know if enough to do an Ironman. I think the failure is a little too close to me right now.
Well, you can start with your snorkeling that you want to do. So
That's
you have to
true.
come visit us. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That's good. Well, Antonio, don't go too far. We're going to give you just a quick break. Carolyn and I are going to recap a couple of our favorite parts of our interview, which is going to be very hard to do. And then we're going to bring you back for a couple of questions. Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, Carolyn. Well, I've been telling you for 3 years. The story is amazing.
Yes.
And
I'll
boy,
start
did
with
it. Boy, did it deliver. I love to hear. What are you thinking? What was one of your favorite parts?
So I think one of my the standout things is just how unfettered he is about challenges, where it just seems like, if there's a challenge in front of him, it's not the anxiety, it's not the fear, it's okay, what do we need to do to get over this? I thought that was really cool. But of course, I love at the very end, he shared this, the advice to the middle school, the high school students, and honestly, any adults out there too, that are, we have kind of free reign of our schedules, but it's don't waste your time. And when you're choosing like the shows that you're watching, is it something that's actually encouraging to you, uplifting you, pushing you forward, motivating you, or is it something that is just kind of passing the time? I thought that was a really interesting thing, especially as we're kind of coming out of a break, and ending this year right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, a couple parts that stuck out to me, and something that we learned just before we went live on the podcast, was Antonio sharing the story. And I'm trying to imagine this 12 or 13-year-old boy that has a piece of paper and a pencil in his hand, and he's just writing down and jotting down some thoughts and ideas of, where he wants to be in 5, 10, 15 years later down the road. And so practical. And I hope those that are watching, will think about, as we're beginning to wrap up the year 2020, could be just a great practice in the month of December to bring out that piece of paper and simply just answer the question, where do I want to be in 5 years and 10 years? And then I love how Antonio shared that, and for students that are watching and listening right now, that, you don't have to have it all figured out. And I think sometimes that we can feel paralyzed because we have to have an answer, to the proverbial question, what do you want to be, or what do you want to do when you grow up? We feel like we have to have that answer. And I love what he just said, is that you don't have to have the answer, but just do something. And that plays into, Antonio, of course, being a more natural doer, like he said. So, whether, program, an club, a chess club, but just do something that you like and surround yourselves around those kinds of people, and you never know where it's going to lead you.
Sounds like Michael, this may be a good time. I'm going to tell you I might get into MMA soon. We'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were going to mention a triathlon club.
Maybe.
All right, well, let's bring Antonio back. We have a few questions for him. Antonio, how you doing?
Good. Ready?
It's still looking sunny and beautiful where you're at right now.
Really? Yeah.
We're jealous. It's like 40 or 30 degrees outside here.
Wow.
All right, well, we're going to kick things off, Antonio. We have a chat feature, for those of you who don't know, on our website, loveworksleadership.org, and it's an opportunity for anyone to be able to click on that link and to ask our dreamer and doer a question. So, Antonio, if you're ready, here's our first one.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Nathan, and I'm 14 years old, and I really enjoy connecting with people. And my question for Antonio is, what are some ways to develop your communication skills?
Okay. Well, last year I got a chance to work in a. I took a little break from my. I always like to learn different things, so I took a little break from my business. I started working at a resort in sales. I wanted to learn a little bit more about sales, and I learned a lot about communication skills. One of the things that I would highly recommend is you cannot be shy. You have to be very outgoing and write down something. Talk about, I don't know, something, whatever you want, any topic. Get in front of the mirror and just say it. Just talk, say it. And repeat it and look at the gestures, look at your hand gestures, look at your face, that's gonna help you a lot to improve your communication skills.
Antonio, that was so practical. I dig that. We got another question for you. This is from Antonio. They asked, when you decided to make a change in your life, did you have someone who encouraged you?
Yes, I did. My parents and helped me a lot. My brother, my siblings, my two brothers and my sister, they helped me. We are very, very close family. So I've been blessed with that. So when I was gonna, like I said before, when I was gonna turn 29, I decided that I needed to make a change in my life. I wasn't going anywhere. So the first thing I did was I decided to quit drinking, and it wasn't easy. It was difficult, but yeah, with the encourage and the support of my family, I was able to do it. But the most important thing is that you have to decide it. You're the one who's going to decide to make a change. Nobody's going to decide for you, because you need to be certain and of what you're going to do. Like, if you're going to change, make sure it's because of you, because of the right reason.
I like that, Antonio. We have one more question for you that we're going to close out with, and this one is from Armando. And Armando wants to know, what is one of the hardest challenges that you've had to overcome?
Well, there's been many, but there's one that I remember recently that happened about like 4 years ago. It was right before we were about to start building our home where we live now. Mm-hmm. We had all the money saved in our house for the construction, and then we got robbed. We went out. My wife and I, we went out for we were taking a course in learning how to develop websites. So it was our first day, actually. So we went to this school. We came back and to find out that our house had been robbed. They took all our money, life savings and all that. And that was very, very difficult. For a week, I was ready to throw the towel. I didn't want to do anything else. And then I went to see one of my oldest brother, Ruben. He's a lawyer. So I was telling all these crazy ideas, like, you know what, I'm gonna sell the business, I'm gonna sell my house, I'm gonna sell this, I was just going nuts, going crazy because of what happened. He just listened to me, and when I was done, he said, "Tough luck, amigo." Tough luck. Okay, that happens.
Yeah.
Okay, you got robbed, so you're a doer. You know your business. Get back on your feet. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be, angry, but you're not gonna give up. You're gonna keep going, and you're gonna do it. And 3-4 years later, here we are. There's always gonna be a challenge. There's always gonna be something that is gonna be against you. But you can't stop. You have to keep moving forward all the time, and be ready and be prepared.
Antonio, that is a good word. You said it earlier, but you definitely nailed it. I'm grateful that you did not throw in the towel, that you collected yourself and you put into practice as that doer inside of you, and you thought of new ideas and new ways, and you kept moving forward. And we are definitely better for your life and better for your leadership. We just want to thank you today.
No, thank you very much for the opportunity. Very, very nice.
Thank you, Antonio.
Well, everybody, we hope you were inspired by the story as much as we were. We always like to remind you to mark your calendars each Monday morning as we have the opportunity to sit down with a different dreamer and doer guest. And next week, we're going to be having a conversation with someone from New York, and her name is Julie Kerwin. And she is the Chief Elemental Officer of a female action figure, which is such an incredible story. Her business is called I Am Elemental, that she founded in 2013. And so we're super excited to dig in and hear about Julie's just childhood and about what inspired her to be able to create these unique action figures, which I think would be an incredible stocking stuffer for the upcoming holidays. We want you to remind you, too, to check out loveworksleadership.org, where you're going to be able to find out more just about our organization, approach to leadership, and all things digital.
For sure. And remember, real leaders, they don't blend in, but they stand out.
Dream big, everyone.
Do your dream.
Bye-bye.